Alright guys, CWL here, back again today, bringing you a recap of Day 3 of Week 1 of cross-divisional play, Week 5 of the Pro League. Very interesting set of matches once again. My predictions for every single match were wrong last night, which is an absolute classic. Let's go through them today. Like if you enjoy it, subscribe if you're new as always. I'll go through all the news around Red Reseve and what people have been saying on Twitter and the issues right now with this team because they got 3-0, well, not smoked by Heretics, but losing 3-0 to Heretics, and the fashion in which they lost that control, which I will show you guys, was probably the final nail in the coffin for this team, even though, you know, it was rated that said the other day that maybe Fort Worth was the final nail in the coffin. Surely a roster change is on the cards now. So I hope you guys enjoy the video, and let's crack right on with it here. So Heretics map 1 versus Red Reseve. They had quite a fair lead here on Hacienda. Of course, all these screenshots and scoreboards once again courtesy of Easy Mackie, is rapidly catching me up in followers on Twitter, but it's well deserved because the content he puts out is fantastic. If you want to cover the Pro League, if you want someone to help you cover the Pro League in terms of the statistics department while the league's going on, highly recommend following him. He puts together these scoreboards. He was busy yesterday with some, you know, personal stuff, so unfortunately there are no like hill counters, but at least we get the final scoreboard, which is lovely in its own right. So Heretics did go up early lead in this one. Red Reseve brought it back to some degree, but Heretics closed it out on that final fences hill, I think, and the slaying from Heretics was pretty massive. The map number 1 for Metals and Suckery. Suckery hasn't had like an incredible amount of good series. It's usually Journey and Metals and Lucky to some degree that are turning it on, but when Method does a good map in addition to Suckery, Heretics are a near unbeatable squad. So map number 2, Heretics took it 6-4. I think this is a pretty back and forth one. Heretics went up really early on, like 4-1, something like that. Red Reseve brought it back before Heretics closed out the final couple of rounds. Big gain from Methods once again. Like as I say, this guy had a really tough series when they played yesterday, I think against Evil Geniuses, when they still won. Today he has a very good first couple of maps, and guess what? They win both of them very comfortably. Zero once again with a not so good game here on the side of Red Reseve for that 6-4 loss. And then game number 3 was the control, and this is pretty tragic because Red Reseve, a very, very good control team indeed. Heretics, even though they beat Evil Geniuses yesterday, their control run as of late has been pretty bad. And yeah, looking at Red Reseve here, what a horrible way to close this one out. They had the slaying was in their palm of their hands here, as you can see, like Metals going 21-33. Don't see that of a game too often. Considering they got completely outslayed here, did Heretics, the fact that they won 3-2 is pretty ridiculous. Red Reseve threw away them round 4 in a very similar fashion to how they did against Envious yesterday, and then into round 5 it looked like all hope was lost. I'll show you the clip on stream, but effectively Rated made a long flank, got into the hard point with, well, got into the point with 2 seconds on the clock. They just needed to hold it down. It looked like Red Reseve were going to do it, but somehow, I think it's Methods, manages to sneak into the hill. No idea how that's even possible, and he stays alive there, manages to get a kill in the end, and that closes out the game in favour of Heretics. An absolutely tragic way to lose a map. Especially to do it back to back with you know, Envious yesterday and now today. So Scraps once again has a 1.3 over the series, and they lose the series. It's just tragic. And yeah, well, there's been rumours this guy's going to go elsewhere. We'll have to see exactly where he does end up. We're going to talk through some tweets here in just a second, and some Reddit comments from none other than Rated, because he was staying off Twitter a little bit yesterday. He didn't have a great series here, but, you know, when you're getting 3-0, can't expect too much. But Scraps is got to be one of the best players in the game right now on the way he performs series after series, and to see him just losing series over and over again is, well, it's not great. This is what Scraps had to say. The last 2 games I've dropped 3 machines on each gridlock control and lost all because of a stupid play. Been making the same mistakes as a team since Vegas. Don't know what to say anymore. It's time to go. And yeah, Wuskin says along the same lines. There's basically no coming back from this one. There's also this tweet which was screenshotted yesterday suggesting that Scraps is owed $40,000 by Red Reseve. And then Rated follows it up on Reddit saying that, you know, Scraps, Matt, he's not the only one owed money from Red Reseve. So a difficult situation for those guys 100% right now. It also seems like they've tried to get this money back for months, but, you know, Rated and the guys can't seem to get it back from Red Reseve. The organisation has a lot of power this year, of course. I guess it is how it is to some degree, but, you know, surely they should speak to like a lawyer or something. So this came out from the CoD burner a couple of days ago about that Envy want to drop Aches for Scrapsy G, and he says that Envy was told 300k, which is a figure I mentioned yesterday. Wuskin says in reply here, his buyout is big, but it ain't 300 racks, so well, have to keep that in mind. And then, interestingly enough, Rated CoD says, moving to Envy, this is Rated commenting on a potential change of Scraps going to Envy, moving to Envy instead of one of them does not improve his chances. If one of the big gods came through Optic LG 100 Thieves, I'd sign the contract for him and telling him he's taken it. Envy, on the other hand, I'd be salty if he left for a 1-for-1 trade. Another thing to consider here is that Shocks tweets out Dallan to Brisbane to Tokyo, back-to-back weekends of events, and at Vegas next week. Some people thought that maybe this means that Shocks is going to be coming in to replace one of the guys on the team, but, you know, they don't play next week anyway. These are their 4 matches for this time of cross-divisional play, so, and then they'll be able to make actual roster changes come April, so I doubt this is anything important. Okay, let us continue on. UYU versus Excelerate was unbelievably comfortable for Excelerate. I was super impressed with them in this series, to be honest with you. I thought UYU would mix it up. I fancied a game 5 here. Thought UYU might just be able to edge it out, but Excelerate, what? Super good. Skies had a great map. Profizi had a fantastic map. The SMG duo of Profizi and Jetly are really scary, and when Brack and Skies can pull out maps like this, just no stopping them. Arsenal Hardpoint is one of Accelerate's favourites though, like they beat Luminosity on this a couple of times now, so UYU didn't really stand a chance. Accelerate win the search pretty comfortably as well. Skies goes 13-4. What a series so far he has had. And yeah, UYU couldn't really get anything going this map. And map 3 was the Brack show. Seems to happen at least one map a series. This guy's a monster. And yeah, Accelerate closes out 3-1 on this gridlock control. Very impressive considering UYU are considered to be a very strong control team indeed. Especially Mayhem has, I think, one of the best control stats in the entire league. Proto has a bad map here, at least in terms of the statistics standpoint, but that's just how Proto is as a player, you know, the way he plays. If he's doing well, if he's going even, UYU are winning the map, you know, so it really comes down to the SMG duo. I think Chance was talking about that before the series, and I think it's very accurate indeed, but right here, Brack takes over the game with the Maddox in hand, and Accelerate closing out in a 3-0 fashion back-to-back. So both teams that I chose to probably take it in game 5, they didn't win a single map so far. So this is the stat line to win the series, and have a look at that. When Proto and Knight, your SMG duo, are both around 0.5, 0.6 KD, that's not really what you want to see. Skies has his first really fantastic series I've seen. When I saw this guy play online, I really expected a lot from him, because back in Infinite Warfare he was really nasty. 55-27 overall this series. Of course, it's only 3 maps, relatively small sample. Hasn't done this on a bigger scale, but the idea that they could have a very, very competent assault rifle in addition to their great SMG line, and of course Brack on the squad, is a very scary prospect for teams playing Accelerate over the coming weeks. Then we move on to a very interesting series indeed. Envious versus Evil Geniuses, and finally Evil Geniuses have got a series victory on the board. Envy took map number 1 here on Frequency, largely on the back of Apathy having a fantastic map. Don't see that too often nowadays, but yeah, he really went off this map, 31-19. Even better than Hook in the KD department, which is not something you can say every day. But then it started turning around slowly. Evil Geniuses won a game 2 round 11 against Envious, which really Envy over the last few days have been that clutch team. The guys that can go to game 5 and end up winning it. You would have expected them, I guess, to win this round 11, but EG have been really good in their round 11 so far this week. Attach, of course, known as like a very competent S&D player as well, so he goes 10-6 right here. Hook, of course, has a 12 kills, but to no avail this map. And then the control was very, very comfortable indeed. Not something you see every day from Evil Geniuses closing out a game like this against Envy so convincingly. But yeah, even Hook couldn't get anything going this map, and, you know, well, that's not exactly, it's very rare to say, but when he doesn't, Envy effectively stand no chance, I think, in the current state. And that's why I really think that they do still need a roster change, because you can't rely on Hook and Silly to carry you through an entire tournament. And when they have bad games, this team is like dead in the water. So there really needs to be something done about that, I think, come the transfer period on April the 5th next week. EG take map number 3, 3-0. And then game 4, remarkably, we actually have a series closed out in a 3-1. I'm pretty sure this is the first 3-1 of the week. It's only been 3-0s and 3-2s up until this point. But EG close out here on Hacienda, another close half point that once again, Envy don't clutch up in. Hook goes 36-25, but, you know, back to his normal form. Him and Silly going super hard, and they they still lose. Like, this is exactly the scoreboard that, well, you dread to see if you're an Envy fan, because it just shows that the team dynamic does not work right now. Apathy and Assault and Aches are just not up to the same caliber as the other two guys on the squad. And, well, it's no surprise that they're considering a change at the current state. Losing to Evil Geniuses here is not what you want to see. Of course, EG looking much better this series. Even winning a map when Hook and Silly are going off is very difficult indeed. But, of course, the guys of Envia should be doing a lot better than this on paper. And losing two very close hard points and then losing a round 11 Search and Destroy, you don't like to see that. So this is the final scoreboard. Hook and Silly go off, of course, but Aches has a pretty horrible series. 0.66 KD overall. There really is maybe no wonder that he's the guy being considered for a change here with this potential addition of scraps to the squad that has been rumoured. Maybe Envy will decide to also go against the GA so that Aches can use the Rampart, because he was very good at that when he had it in hand, but they haven't been using it so far. We'll have to see. So the final series of the day, eUnited versus Luminosity Gaming, and well, this was a pretty barn burner one. I thought this was, relatively close matchup on paper. Kind of fancied eUnited a little bit more than LG, just because eUnited with this new squad, I thought they were going to take LG off guard to some degree. LG haven't been going incredibly hard in some of these matches so far, I thought, and also eUnited tend to be a better team in the league than LG do, so I kind of fancied eUnited in a game 5, but it went the other way. But let's see how we got there. Luminosity, of course, map number 1, 34 and 18 for Gunless. Am I not surprised? Like, I don't know how he does it on every map. You quite often find that some players tend to be really good on certain maps, as in, like, a map that really fits their playstyle or the like. Gunless does it on every map, and I've got a funny clip from Zuma to show you guys.
On Venus? No, he was not that high. I don't know what.
Pierce is 5 and 2, nothing fucking new.
Get that first push.
It's Big P, bro. It's Big P. You can't fuck with him.
Staying alive. That's Clay.
No, he's fucking nasty.
Can't fuck with Big P, bro.
Sorry, that was
look at him, big fucking P. He's got the biggest cock in the league. His dick is huge. His dick is huge.
So after LG closed it out, it's a pretty back and forth map. LG had a big lead at the start, I think, and then eUnited brought it back. Then LG pulled away again towards the end. A pretty entertaining one. Then game 2, we have a 6-5 in favour of eUnited towards the end. LG arguably should have won this map. eUnited were up heavily early on, I think like 4-1 or something. Then LG won 4 rounds straight to go to 4-5. And then eUnited won 2 big rounds in a row towards the end. Like, Simp is a really lethal weapon to have in your team in situations like this. A 12-7 performance from him. John had a good map as well. But yeah, eUnited closed it out in a round 11. Then game 3 was a 3-0 in favour of eUnited in the control. Very impressive stuff indeed. Nothing that could really be got together by Luminosity. John had a very poor map here, and yeah, I thought that after Fort Worth, John would be the type of player to really kick on his performance, keep getting better and better as he tends to do. Really haven't seen it yet. I don't think Luminosity are at their full potential until John is slaying like he has done, traditionally. If he can get to that level, this team is nigh on impossible to defeat. But right now, he's not on top form by any means. We'll have to see how it goes in towards London, because of course of the UK event last year in Birmingham, he won it and was MVP. Now, Luminosity win out game number 4 here on Arsenal. Impressive stuff from them. Classic had a really big map here, and of course the Rampart once again played a relatively big part in this series. It was Classic versus Clayster who was using it on the other side. Simp had a great map right here, and a Beezy, the SMG duo, but it was to no avail. RCT's once again not really getting anything going in with that assault rifle, and I'm intrigued as to exactly why that is, because RCT's at the start of the year was, well, people were thinking he was the best player in the game. He was the second best player at Vegas after Dashi. Statistically, he had something ridiculous like a 1.25, 1.3. Now on this team dynamic, I guess it seems impossible for him to do something like that. I'm not sure how exactly the roles are working out to the point where he seems to not be playing, at least statistically, anywhere near as well as he has done before. But maybe if you're still winning games and your SMG duo are going off, that's not a big issue. Unfortunately, they're not winning games against Luminosity at least. And then map 5 was a bit of a smoker. Slacked was the man this map. Oh my word. He started 10-0, got a full set of streaks. Something you can't let happen really if you're on the side of eUnited. He really did romp through them. It was 5-1, then 5-2, then 6-2, closed out at the end. Clay got 1 kill. Typically, when LG have won this map before, I always think it's Gunless going off. This time it's Slacked at 12-1. Very impressive stuff from him, and they close out the series. So to look at the final series scoreboard, fantastic stuff from Formal and Gunless overall, as always. Slacked definitely needs an honourable mention in there, given that map 5 performance, effectively single-handedly closing out the series for them. Not the best series from Clayster, considering it was Clay versus Classic. It was going to be that Rampart battle on both sides. Classic definitely wins it on this occasion, so maybe some more, you know, back to the drawing board potentially. Maybe Clay can bring out the ABR or something like that with the update that is coming in over the next couple of days. So I hope you guys enjoyed the recap. Like if you did, subscribe if you're new as always. And before I leave you, let's go on to the matches for tonight, the final day of Division of Week 1 at least of the cross-divisional play. We have UIU versus Envy. This is a tough one, man. I'm going to favour Envy just because UIU have not been looking good the last couple of days, especially against Excelerate. EG versus Excelerate I find it almost impossible to call. Probably going to favour Excelerate, to be honest. I'm not sure eUnited, EG can win 2 series in a row. eUnited should beat Red Reseve, although Clay versus Rated is always spicy. Heretics versus LG should be interesting. I think it probably goes to a map 5. Might just favour Luminosity on current form, but it's very tough to say. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching, as always, and I will see you next time.